So we were talking about comparable metrics and sort of which things we can use to measure activity across platforms. And one of the things that I talked about a bit was this idea of time and the fact that in such a fully mediated world that we live in, and with almost limitless choice in terms of how consumers can spend their time and consume media, the idea of what they choose to spend their time on was very critical, because it's one of the most valuable things they can give. And actually, Coach Holtz said yesterday, he was one of the things he said yesterday, was that time is one of the most valuable things you can give. So I agree with him on that. And so we're interested in how people divide that time over a massive media landscape, and how we can use that information to better communicate with them. So one of the things that we've sort of settled on is the idea that consumer media time and as a whole is kind of maxed out, so there just simply isn't any more hours left in the day to spend on media, because we're already doing more than one thing at the same time, whether it's watching TV while on your phone or listening to the radio while driving. We're all sort of constantly multitasking. So within that framework, what we're really looking at is how does the share between the different platforms, the different media types shift over time, and where do we think it's going to be in 5 years versus now, and how can we plan ahead to make sure that our communication strategy is most effective to drive our clients' business. So time spent is definitely part of the Nielsen's framework for total audience measurement, and so we're happy to see that. There was a bit of a poll done in the room, and average audience did come up as one of the things that people are gravitating towards, and one of the examples that came up was when Yahoo streamed a live football game last October, and they're talking about sort of how many individuals it reached versus what was the average audience on any given minute. And obviously when you compare TV to the live stream, the average minute audience for TV is substantially higher. And in that case, I think average audience is a useful way to kind of distinguish between the two. But when we're talking about a 60-minute TV program versus a 3-minute YouTube clip, I think it becomes less valuable, and we have to more think of it in terms of how much time is spent over a longer frame of time. In the course of a week, for example, how much time are people on their phones versus watching TV, and what does that sort of help us understand about how we should be parsing out our advertisers' dollars to best take advantage of that, of consumer habits. I think we're all sort of resigned to the fact that we may not have a silver bullet yet for a few years, but I think we all recognize that there's areas of improvement that we agree on, and that we all kind of want to go in the same direction. I think it's a matter of sort of agreeing on how to do business going forward, and then building out the infrastructure to make sure that we get that done.